Let's begin with elections, and a new software application has been developed to filter fake information that may attempt to ruin election reporting. Now, this app built by a software development company, Softmasters, in collaboration with the National Media Commission, is to help journalists and other stakeholders, including security agencies, rid the media space of fake news during the presidential and parliamentary elections. Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson has more.
Every day, social media spreads fake news. In election times, online disinformation is especially destructive because it can trigger violent riots. To clamp down on this, the National Media Commission, in collaboration with independent software developers, Softmasters, have developed an app known as Election Watch. It is to filter fake news during coverage of the December polls. National Media Commission's Executive Secretary, George Sapon, tells us more.
It helps us to address some aspects of disinformation and fake news. During COVID and prior to COVID, we had instances where people submitted materials online claiming to be incidents in Ghana, some relating to police action and all, which turned out not to be true. This system enables us to verify videos, audio materials and all, to be able to determine whether they are genuine or not. For the security agencies, it offers an opportunity to know real time anything happening at any place that requires their intervention. So if there's an allegation about, say, ballot snatching or violence at a polling station that is submitted, the security agencies can easily have access to that. And they're using the app because it's time and location stamped. It gives you direction to the location to be able to intervene as quickly as. For the Electoral Commission, it will help also in their overall administration of the elections.
Mr. Sapon also reveals the stakeholders who will monitor and track the information shared on the app.
For now, we are working primarily the National Media Commission, the Electoral Commission, the National Commission for Civic Education, the Commission for Small Arms, the National Peace Council, the Ghana Police, the Armed Forces, the other security agencies. So essentially, this is, but the Ghana Journalists Association, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, the Private Newspaper Publishers Association, it is possible that along the line, if there is any institution that feels like joining the group, we could consider their request. Each of the institutions comes with a certain degree of expertise. So we are relying on their expertise for the areas of their competence. And that's essentially what we are doing.
CEO of Softmasters, Dr. Ben Edu, explains the technicalities of the app.
What we have done is to provide a platform that allows every cell phone to capture videos and pictures, but it will timestamp each picture and each video with the time of that the incident happened, and then the location, both the GPS location and then the address, if there's an address for it. So all pictures and videos that will be sent have these components to it, that it has a time and it has a location. So you know precisely that where the thing relates to, or what issue the thing relates to. So in simple terms, that is it. We think that with the coming elections, if this is available, it will deter those who want to go and do wrong things, because they know that there are hundreds of phones around that will capture them, so they will be known. Then it will also help in the sense that if somebody sends a video, now there's another video that is out there that had the time and place on it, so you can compare that video to it and know that this thing actually happened or this thing didn't happen. So we want a fact-based monitoring system That is what we have built.
Other stakeholders, especially the security agencies, have welcomed the app as a great platform to fight election-related crimes. Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson, reporting for JoyNews.
Now, Ghanaians are split over the direction of the country, 47% to 47%. 6% say they don't know whether the country is going in the right direction or the wrong direction. However, 45% say violence may affect the integrity of the polls. 71% remain concerned about the activities of vigilante groups. The New Patriotic Party NPP enjoys a significant advantage, 15 percentage points over the NDC when it comes to public confidence in the ability to deliver on campaign promises. And you can see there the graph on your screen. The first bar is for the NPP, the second bar for the NDC. The third bar is for smaller parties. As you can see there, the NPP enjoys 65%. Now, it says here, and the caption is, there's a 15 percentage points difference between confidence in the NPP's ability to deliver on campaign promises versus the NDC. Now, what you need to look at is the date. Now, this is between September and October 2020. So it's very close to the polls. 65% of those who were asked say that they are confident that the NPP can deliver on their campaign promises. The NDC has 15%. Let's go to the second graph. Ghanaians perceive difference between NPP and NDC when it comes to their respective performance in office, development policies, and to a lesser extent, honesty and integrity. Now, let's go to the party's record in office now. 31% say there's a difference. The respective development policies or programs each party wants to implement, 29% say there's a difference. Honesty and integrity of party leadership and membership, 15% say there's a difference. Personalities leading the party. Now, this is an interesting figure. Only 3% of Ghanaians feel there's a difference between Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and John Dramani Mahama. This particular scale does not tell us whether it tips in the favor of President Akufo-Addo or former President Mahama. You can call him President Mahama. The rest scored 1%, handling of natural disasters and national emergencies, the ethnicity of party leadership or the majority of its members, or the religion of party leadership and the majority of its members. Interesting there. And there is no difference between NDC and MPP, says 16%. Let's go to a critical part of the poll. All adults, or almost all adults, claim to be registered to vote. A whopping 98% say they are registered to vote. Only 2% say they are not registered for one reason or another. Now, of course, we do have a huge voter roll, close to about 17 million, but whether or not it translates into voter turnout is the question. 9 in 10 Ghanaians say they intend to vote. Interesting there. 89% say I will vote or I will probably vote. And the rest is spread among the options there. So very interesting statistics coming in from the Center for Democratic Development. We'll be perusing those documents a bit further in later bulletins. But let's look at Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is assuring that government will support the police administration to ensure a peaceful, transparent and credible election. He urged retired police officers to preach peace before, during and after election 2020. His Interior Minister Ambrose Derry speaking on his behalf at the commissioning of a hotel and office complex built by retired police officers.
This year is an election year, and as the chair of the council presiding over the police service that is tasked with maintaining law and order, government will support the police administration to ensure a peaceful, transparent, and credible election. We urge all retired officers who have varied experiences to also help us all preach peace before, during, and after election 2020.
Now, President of the National Association of Retired Police Officers, Kwesi Nkansah, explained the antecedent of the hotel and the office complex project.
In the year 2003, construction of a guest house and a meeting place began in earnest on the land. After several consultations and deliberations over a period of time, it was decided that the project should be upgraded to the level of hotel and office complex to provide services to retired serving officers and the public at large. On 24th May 2016, Mr. C.K. Dewonu, then past president of the association, was assisted by General Seth Obin, former Chief of Defense Staff, and both of them were members of Police Council, to perform Chief of Defense Staff. Both were members of Council of State, thank you, to perform the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of this magnificent office complex and the office and events ground.
And so live on Joy News today. Now, the Nairi Nabohagu Mahami Abdullahi Sheriga II has appealed to the government to retool the Ghana Police Service in the Northeast region with enough logistics to fight armed robbery and violent crime. The Mamprugu overlord described the activities of armed robbers as worrying, a phenomenon which, according to him, the police need to be retooled with vehicles and other logistics to bring under control. In a speech read on his behalf at this year's Dama Festival of the Chiefs and People of the Mamprugu Kingdom, the Nairi also asked for the establishment of a university for the Northeast region and preached against electoral violence ahead of the December polls.
The theme for this year's celebration, enhancing our cultural heritage for peace and development, was carefully chosen to reinforce the significance of cultural practice among the Mamprusi people. Dama is celebrated by about 5 ethnic tribes in northern Ghana. Islamically, it is believed to mark the birth and naming ceremony of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, while traditionally observed to foster peace and unity, preserve culture, unite families, and strengthen the bond between chiefs and their subjects. Held at the forecourt of the Nairi's Palace in the capital, Nalerugu, this year's event has been called unprecedented as it attracted high-profile personalities and figures, including President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, among others. Now, Bohago, in his address at the ground thereby, thanked the President and his administration for creating the Northeast region and for the vigorous efforts to push the new region to catch up.
The people of the Northeast region are living witnesses to the numerous benefits that have come as a result of the new region. These benefits continue to trickle in many and diverse forms. The onus now lies on me and my people of the Northeast region to reciprocate your kind gesture come December 7, 2021. One routine deserves another. A renewed mandate of 4 more years for Nana to do more will further consolidate the massive gains made in the first 4 years of your stewardship.
The Northeast region continues to be a hotspot of robbery, attacks, and other violent crime, especially on women, children, and other vulnerable minorities. Now, Bohaga made a direct request to President Akufo-Addo and his vice to ensure the safety and peace of the people in the area.
Almighty Allah, upon assumption of office in your second term as president of this great nation, I shall come to you with a proposal for a university for the Northeast region. Mr. President, may I also appeal to you to consider providing the Northeast Regional Police Command with vehicles to enable them carry out effective patrols in the region. The activities of armed robbers in the region is a worrying phenomenon, and the police need to be retooled to bring the situation under control.
He also cautioned the youth against fomented trouble in the December polls.
I therefore wish to call on government, the Electoral Commission, political parties, security agencies, and all Ghanaians to be circumspect in the lead up to the December 7 election. The youth in particular should not allow themselves to be used as tools to foment violence. President Akufo-Addo in his response also thanked the Overlord for his expression of gratitude and support. The president went ahead to defend his records in the region and said he deserved to be re-elected to lead the country.
The North-East region has had its fair share of the national cake. We can all attest to the roads, hospital, and educational infrastructure, as well as water and sanitation projects that have been delivered during my tenure of office. Indeed, exactly 3 months ago, I was here to commission the 5 million seeded Naidoo water supply system, which is distributing water to thousands of residents in the catchment area. So Naidoo, the residents of the region, with far more for Nana and the MPP, we will do even more. I want to assure him that I've heard his request for strengthening the North-East Regional Police Command, and it will be acted upon. In due course, we shall also consider very seriously the proposal for a university.
Elias Sutanko reporting for JoyNews.
Let's get on to the campaign trail now, and my colleague Manuel Kranting is with the NDC flag bearer on his Greater Accra tour, and he joins us live with the latest. Manuel, tell us about the former President Mahama and what he's been up to.
Also, day 4 of the campaign of the former President John Mahama took off this morning at the Nungwa Chief Palace, the paramount chief of Nungwa. He's been calling on him and asking for his blessings ahead of the election. He's also been presenting the NDC's parliamentary candidate, Namomulati, to the people here, courting their support also for her. He's been saying that for all the abandoned projects that were started under his administration, if he wins power in 2020, he will make sure that he completes all of them before he starts new projects, Daniel.
So, Manuel, tell us about the response of the people.
Well, in fact, these promises he's been making are in response to some of the requests that were made by the chiefs and people here, and they are, they have been receiving the promises quite well. But from the core constituency, the campaign show will stop at Lejekuku constituency and then head to Ladadeko Tupon, and then finally wrap it all up for day 4 at the Klote constituency.
Manuel Kranting, thank you very much for those updates. Now, more than 80 Ivorians have crossed the Ghanaian border into the main refugee camp in the western regional town of Ampane this month alone, running for their lives. Côte d'Ivoire goes to polls this weekend in a crucial election where incumbent Alassane Ouattara has fought through a constitutional change to enable him run for a 3rd term amidst widespread protests. This comes exactly 10 years after the disputed election of 2010, which left over 3,000 dead. JoyNews' Justice Baidu has been to the Ampane refugee camp to gauge the mood of the people ahead of the elections.
Inside this church building made of raffia, hands are raised in prayer. Hallelujah! It's 2 days before presidential elections in Ivory Coast. 10 years ago, when a similar poll happened, more than 3,000 people were killed. Those here were part of the thousands who fled for their lives. They have been living in Ghana since then.
I just pray. 2 days now I didn't sleep because I fear for my family.
This is the Ampane refugee camp. More than 1,000 people live here. It's one of 3 that were built to receive Ivorian refugees during the country's war of 2010.
And for my country, if the election was not passed well, it means that I'll do maybe 10 years again.
Natasha Ba-Ibo is showing me photos people have sent her from home. She claims these are pictures of those who were butchered on the streets of Abidjan for protesting President Alassane Ouattara's decision to run for a third term.
2 days now I didn't sleep because I fear for my family. They are free. They are free. And most of my friends, my sisters call me, they want to come, but they close the border. So they don't know where they can pass to come. Many of people, when they reach the border, they can't pass because they don't have money, or they just tell them to go back. They want to save their life and they tell them to go back. It's not easy.
Many of the children playing on this field today were born on this camp, hundreds of kilometers away from their motherland, where their parents fled from bloodshed 10 years ago. A lot of them do not even speak any French at all. The refugees who live on this camp are praying against the situation that will birth another generation like this one. Children cut away from their roots. And whether that happens or not depends on the result of this election.
Even for the people of Ghana, it's not good. It is not good. You know when it starts, but you don't know when it ends. So to me, if situation gets worse, Ghana will open the doors. What we are thinking on now, we want to know if the borders will be open. If the border is not open, then it will be difficult.
4 people are contesting for the presidency in Saturday's election. More than 15 people have already been killed in violent protests since August. With the stakes that high, many are concerned what the future of this country would be. Justice Paidu, JoyNews, Ampain Refugee Camp.
You're live on JoyNews today. Let's look at other stories. And government has turned down the request of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Senior High Schools, CHAS, for a review of the free SHS policy to allow PTAs play a more active role in the development and administration of schools. Speaking at a conference in Cape Coast, President of CHAS Yakub Abubakar said since the inception of the program, PTAs in schools across the country have collapsed, accounting for many abandoned projects. But speaking on JoyNews Prime, with Deputy Education Minister Dr. Yao Educhum said the request will not be granted. Here's why.
In education, there's something that is called a structured democratic voice. If you want to look at how schools perform and get quality outcomes, we want participation by parents, by civic society. Such participation may be called tangential or infused. Tangential is where parents had the opportunity to speak to education policy and to tell policymakers that this is how we want your schools to, our schools to run. And when it's infused, it's where parents participate in decision making at the various schools and contribute so that there will be improved outcomes. So I agree with Charles when they talk about parent participation. But in this country for too long, parent participation has been equated with parent levy. Parent participation goes beyond financial contribution. Yes. And some people may contribute more than what you are going to levy. So let me tell you this.
That will be an individual decision. What they want is for the schools,
what they want,
as a body and as a matter of policy, to be given the opportunity to say, if we have a project, the PTA can go ahead and levy every parent to pay a specific amount of money towards the project.
So understand free senior high school. Ghana is not the first country to do free senior high school. What you need to do is a fundraising. Allow parents to contribute whatever amount. And some people may contribute more than what you are going to levy. But the idea, no, my brother, the idea, if I can explain a bit, it will help your audience. The idea that school is free. But if you haven't paid your levy, you may not go to the dining hall. Let me tell you, these real issues. Parents, students from poor backgrounds have been prevented from going to dining halls because they have not paid their levies. So that kid that comes from a poor background from Bonkoko in Bosomtwe district will be told that yes, you are an Achimota. Every student is supposed to pay 500. You could not afford it and therefore you can't go to the dining hall. And you're talking about how can that be under the free senior high school regime? Well, that the Ghana Education Service is saying is simple. Parents can contribute to their schools, but it cannot be another fee to block the less fortunate from going to school.
And so Charles will not get what he wants, what he's asking for.
And the free senior high school, the president has already made commitment to school building infrastructure. He is also sending development levy grants to schools. Government is not going to impose fees on students when it's supposed to be free. However,
there were two other demands.
If you are a creative headmaster, and some headmasters have done a fantastic job, they have parents contributing, they are recognizing the parents who are contributing, and some will tell you that they are getting more money than when they were levying a flat rate to all parents, because some parents can do 2,000.
Now, freelance investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri has lashed out at state institutions constitutionally mandated to ensure an enabling environment to encourage journalists to hold power to account. Delivering the 2020 Banredo Memorial Lecture under the theme Protecting the Public Purse, the Media and Fighting Corruption, Mr. Azuri regrets that the work of the media in recent times has become more difficult and dangerous because state institutions responsible for the promotion of their works have failed on their mandate.
The threat facing investigative journalists in Ghana is enormous. That threat has always been there, but it has been heightened in the past 4 years because the body language of this administration is that of viciousness and intolerance. I, as a journalist, have never felt so unsafe in this country as I feel within this period. And many of my colleagues share the same concern. In 2019, for instance, Emmanuel Dogbevi, an investigative journalist and founder of the Ghana Business News, told forbidden stories, an international non-profit working for the safety of journalists, and I quote, "I feel very unsafe, especially since this government came to power." We all recall that in the period of this administration, a leading member of the governing New Patriotic Party put the photograph of an undercover investigative agent on television, told his audience that a man lived in Medina and whoever saw him should attack him. This was after the number 12 investigative documentary led by Anas Arimiao Anas. Ahmed Swale was later shot and killed in Medina, and up to date, nobody has lost sleep over the matter. The government has not given any evidence to justify why gun-wielding operatives of the national security stormed the offices of modernghana.com, harassed the journalists there. The operatives seized their phones, computers, and other gadgets. They also arrested, detained, and allegedly tortured 2 of the journalists. According to the journalists, they were questioned about negative stories they had published about a minister of state. Till date, nothing has happened.
He made recommendations to reverse the trend.
Journalists fighting corruption cannot give up because the institutions of state have generally failed to do their work, and it will be disastrous if the media sleep on their hallowed constitutional mandate. I believe the media remains our main hope in the fight against corruption. State institutions that are mandated to do this have generally failed. When Barack Obama visited us in 2009 and told us that Africa needed strong institutions and not strong men, we hailed him. He's partly right, but I also believe we need strong men and women. Men and women not with muscular strength, but with a strength of character that lies in their conviction, integrity, and principles. Let us look at the way forward. The state and political institutions have failed us, and the media should and must not fail. The media is gradually losing the battle against corruption because only a few media houses and journalists are doing this. While the dwindling budgets of traditional media organizations cannot support investigations, we must not ignore this important duty imposed on us by the Constitution. Our elders have taught us that the man whose corn has not sprouted must not give up planting. So we must keep planting, keep fighting until Ghana gets better. I would suggest that media organizations should set up special funds for investigative reporting and find ways of raising money for that. They should also build the capacity of reporters to specialize in the area of corruption reporting. I also encourage civil society organizations to set up non-profit newsrooms. Projects such as Corruption Watch, which is spearheaded by a number of civil society organizations in Ghana and funded by Danida, is the future of journalism that can make a meaningful impact against the fight or in the fight against corruption. This is because they have no pressure for advertising and governments cannot intimidate them. So non-profit newsrooms such as Corruption Watch can really be very effective, and they are already doing a good job.
You're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Coming up in business, Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry urges governments to introduce a tiered taxing system for small and medium-sized enterprises. We hear why that is necessary. Daryl is next with the details of that and more. I'll be back with world news and Becky, who'll bring us showbiz. Stay with us.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is urging government to introduce a tiered taxing system for small and medium-sized enterprises. According to the Chamber, these enterprises are being overburdened by an unfair policy environment, a situation that hinders their growth. The Chief Executive of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mark Bedu-Abuaje, spoke to Joy Business at a stakeholder workshop organized by his outfit. There's more in this report.
The Chamber has come up with 9 indices, which variation will determine whether or not policies, initiatives and programs that have been churned out by the government are helping businesses. In an interview with Joy Business, Chief Executive of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mark Bedu-Abuaje, said the tiered system of taxing is one of many recommendations he believes would help small and medium-sized enterprises reinvest their profits.
Now, corporate tax is 25% across board. Bigger companies are paying 25%, smaller companies are also paying 25%. So we are making a recommendation that there should be a tier system of taxing. So at least the bigger companies will pay something corresponding to their size, and the smaller companies will also pay something smaller. The main reason is that when you pay a smaller tax, your bottom line, your net profit is quite bigger, so that you'll be able to reinvest. The SMEs, they are not able to get funding, difficult to get funding, they don't have the collateral. So the only way for them to get funding is to reinvest their profit. So with a lower tax, with a lower interest rate, they will get a higher net profit that they can reinvest. So the tier system is one of the recommendations that we'll be making to government.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Robert Ahomka-Lindsay, said his outfit will continue to create an enabling environment for local businesses to thrive.
An economy cannot thrive without a healthy and resilient private sector. When private sector flourishes, it boosts job creation and generates wealth that can be spent and reinvested locally. As a government that cares about the socio-economic well-being of its citizens, we are actively engaged in supporting the private sector through creating enabling environment for trade and investment. The Ministry of Trade is aggressively pursuing programs and policies to improve competitive edge of the local industries.
The Business Diagnostics Data Mobilization received support from Buzak Fund.
Now, Toronto Gold Mine has introduced a scholarship scheme to help bridge the skills gap in its catchment area and economically empower communities. There have been concerns about inadequate educational skill sets for people in mining communities to gain employment with mining firms. Now, this often leads to friction between mining companies and the communities in which they operate. Prince Apia has more in this report.
Lack of requisite skills and education often deny many residents in mining communities employment opportunities in mining companies. Government's free senior high school policy is helping to address the educational gap in poor mining communities, but SHS graduates are limited to menial jobs, which community leaders complain about.
Since the mining was introduced, not a lot of people have gained access to the mining sector, because formerly they were employing people from outside. Now that they have come back and employing people within the catchment area, so most of the people here are very, very poor. They are very, very poor. They don't have money. So I think with the introduction of this scholarship scheme, it will help a lot.
Management of Toronto Gold Mines is therefore supporting needy community members with scholarships for tertiary education and continuous training. Terence Watungwa is Vice President and General Manager.
Let's invest directly into the people from the community, the needy students who are hungry for education. Let's support them through the tertiary education phase. And after this meeting, after the launching, we'll begin the work to immediately recruiting. And it's going to work in such a way that we'll have 2 per paramountcy. So 2 students per paramountcy that will be beneficiaries of this new GM scholarship that we are launching today.
Communications Officer of Toronto Gold Mines, Kwabna Owusu-Amprechuma, explains the scholarship is targeted at science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education.
Education is very key. We are focusing on STEM, that is science, technical education, and mathematics. Research is very good, mathematics is very good, and with this, we believe that the impact on the society, if these people are able to take advantage of this and become good people, productive people in society, it will benefit the society over here and our communities, our local communities.
Prince Apia reporting.
And we've got a full bulletin of business news at the top of the hour. That's at 1 p.m. Up next is sports with Oreku Ampofo. He has some news on Accra House of Oak. Stay tuned.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews today. Now, Dansala Shatawale says his aspiration is to see unity prevail in the music industry. He said on Daybreak Hits this morning that the only way they can achieve greater heights is that they stay united.
My problem, and I've seen that no, it's not about the people or in the country. The attitude towards our work is very poor. It's very, very poor. And like, you see, when I see that, I go like, hey, Junior, fine, Kelewele to fry at the junction at least. No, I'm thinking about certain small business. I don't want to even think about, because recently my mind was bossing me. I need to sell my car, like 2 of them, to buy a house. It's bad. Like it's so sad for me. Like this FDA, this bets thing you are talking about. I want to fight for it, but it's Sarkodie ready. It's Stonewall ready. It's Samini ready. It's Ifia ready. It's Becca ready. You know, Candy, I like to share my mind, my ideas to these people for them to know that it is for the bright future. But you don't see it. For instance, if these people say they are ready, I say, okay, then leave the talking for me. I will face these people myself so we solve the problem.
So they will back you up.
Yes, me, I just need that. Me, I don't need backup. You know, because the bullets that maybe I might receive for front, I might need backup. So if you go there and maybe police are coming, they'll go, we won't let you take Shatawale.
But me kwakwe na me nkwa 6 years since I am na me da ho. And the baby ana pa na the brother breme. Shata be yi wa nya me be 6 years. Me ba na me di 59. And how can I jump at stadium? Selling carbon was Shata, you are old.
No, I can't do that. So I can't race. So it's a message I'm sending to my colleagues. I love them so much. They see me complain so passionately about this industry and its problems. They should learn how we can unite so we fight a certain cause to change our future.
Meanwhile, the musician reveals he's ready for the GH Unite virtual concert come November 1st. Here is what to expect.
I have not seen you perform in a long time. So you see me perform in a short time this week. You know, like because you know the artists are plenty, so you know it'll just be a normal performance for me. You know, one of like a couple of hit songs, then you know we just done.
Now, Afrobeat artist Kelvin Boy says his new album Black Star is a total reflection of Africa, particularly Ghana. During the album listening Thursday, the musician told JoyNews he is glad he could come out with an all Afrobeat album.
I want to understand it, man.
First of all, because I'm Ghanaian, and first foremost, I'm bringing out a first body of work from me that is Afrobeat. For the first time in Ghana, the artist that is bringing out an album, a project that is full Afrobeat. So I wanted a touch of Ghana there, and I wanted to put Ghana on the map. And if you hear Black Star, Ghana comes in mind. And then right now when you go to Google and you Google Black Star, you see football players and Kelvin Boy. You understand? So to put Ghana on the map, and then I believe blacks are stars. So the Afrobeat agenda, everything, I feel like the Black Star was the perfect title for it. You understand? So it's in your head already. Even our ancestors, our kids know Black Star. So I don't have to put it in your head again, or for you to be saying it. You know Black Star already. So when you hear, you hear. You understand?
Are you glad you chose that name?
I'm very glad because I can see the power of the name now, how it's working, how everybody is like vibing with it now. Everybody is like accepting the name Black Star. Today I googled Black Star and I saw Ghana players and myself and nothing else.
Afrobeat, Black Star, Ghana, culture, tradition, all these things, what do they mean to you? Why is it such a big deal for you?
That's who we are, because that's who we are, and that's the thing that helps the Nigerians. If you watch their videos, they portray Africa, African print. If you listen to their song, their sound, even if the beat starts, you hear Africa before anything. You understand? So I think that is our true color, and that's who we are. So that's why I fight for that a lot.
On that note, we end showbiz here on JoyNews today. My name is Becky.